It's Positively Muskegon. Andy O'Reilly inside the Muskegon Museum of Art with Judith Hayner,
Hi,
who
Andy.
is hi. Nice to see you today.
Nice to see you.
She's kind of let me. Is this like a sneak preview?
No, the show's been up for a while.
This show's been up for a while.
It has.
Well,
It's a great exhibition.
I thought we were getting a sneak preview, but we'll get into some of the up and comers next time.
Yep.
Yes. We'll get into some of the up and comers in a little bit, but we want to talk about the Muskegon Museum of Art today. You're the executive director.
I am.
Do you feel that it's a best kept secret in Muskegon still?
I'm hoping that we're not quite the secret anymore.
Yeah.
We've really worked very hard in the last 10 years or better to really make sure that we're part of this community and that the community understands that we're here. On the other hand, yes, there's lots of things in Muskegon that are best kept secrets, so we're not alone. I know that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, we're kind of a blue collar town. Mm-hmm. We're kind of one of those towns that likes a beer tent here and there and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
and there's nothing
right.
wrong with any of that, but sometimes I think the culture and some of the real riches that we have here gets overlooked a little bit.
I think it does, and I think that part of what happens with us, we've been here on this spot, on this street since 1912.
1912.
We're heading into our 104th year. So the good news is, we're not going away,
Right.
obviously. The bad news is, I think a couple things happen. One is, you don't see it anymore.
Yep.
And the other is, I think that people in Muskegon think everybody has an art museum.
Right.
It's not common.
No.
There are only, I think there's 11 art museums in the state of Michigan.
That's it.
That are collecting institutions. Yeah, it's a small group. And so for Muskegon, given the size that we are, to have a nationally accredited art museum is a significant accomplishment. When this building was built in 1912, and I think you may have seen this in our history, when this building opened in 1912, we were the only building built in America in a town this size, 30,000 or less. At that time, we were the first expressly to hold art.
That's awesome.
That's what we were built to do. You're sitting in one of the original galleries right now.
It's beautiful.
So I think that sometimes that legacy, that heritage, the fact that we were established so long ago is a really, really good thing.
Yep.
And then other times I think it sort of almost works against you.
Kind of gets you on the back burner a little bit.
Yeah,
Everything new popping up all the time.
Right,
But you
right.
can't forget the history. Where do people come from to come here? I mean,
We have visitors from all over.
Yeah.
We track our visitorship through zip code at the admissions desk. And we have visitors from all over the country that come here, and people that typically visit museums or know art museums. The universal reaction is surprise.
Really?
At what they're finding here, both in terms of, I think, the facility and the building, but also the art that we
Sure.
actually have in our collection.
Do you do a lot of things for schools? Do kids get a chance to come down here and come through?
You and I may be interrupted. We have a Moon Elementary tour any minute. I don't know if they'll come in here first. I'm kind of hoping they go in one of the other galleries first. We do. We probably host at least about 5,000 on average.
Really?
Students.
Wow.
From all of the schools in our region, not
Yeah.
just Muskegon County, but Grand Rapids schools come over here. We have, Fremont, a lot of different ones, and we actually provide some assistance with the bus costs.
Sure.
We try to keep a transportation fund going so that we can, because I think schools are, they're just under siege all the time.
It's important too for kids to see something other than the cartoons that they see.
Oh, yes.
And the videos
yes.
they watch on YouTube
Oh,
and all this other stuff. I got a 5-year-old grandson. That kid will watch YouTube videos of people opening prize eggs all day long. And it's like, after a while, kid, you got to get out and see what art and culture.
You got to bring him here.
And we will.
We do a Super Saturday, the second Saturday of every month.
Yep.
It's free, parents, kids. It's an art activity in the classroom, a film in the auditorium, and tours up here. And it's drop-in. It's all day long. Usually we have a couple hundred people throughout the day during that, but that's for families with kids.
Sure.
Because yes, exposing the kids to original art makes a difference.
Let's talk about some of the pieces that are here all the time in the permanent collection. Tell me the biggest name piece of art that you've got in the permanent collection.
I think the most widely recognized piece is the Tornado Over Kansas by John Stuart Curry. I think people always, when they see that, they're really surprised that it's here on these walls.
Yep.
We've owned it since the 30s. And, it used to be that when there were encyclopedias, if you looked up tornado, you'd probably see a picture
Really?
of our painting. Yes.
And that's right here?
Yeah, and
Wow.
it's right here, Tornado Over Kansas. Probably the biggest, one of the other significant, that's most popular, I think, one of our more significant paintings is Edward Hopper's New York Restaurant.
Okay.
We are the only museum in Michigan that has a painting by Edward Hopper.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, we're pretty proud of that.
That's awesome.
And we're pretty proud of something that's going to be coming up with, we're doing a collaboration with Pigeon Hill, and there could be an Edward Hopper beer.
Beer in Muskegon?
Now there was your sneak peek. They're working on it. I probably wasn't supposed to say that. So yeah.
Well, you know, we've only got 25,000 readers or so you know, it'll stay our secret.
Well, and we will start putting out on our website and in our e-news when we might premiere the that beer. Anyway, speaking of beer, we have On Tap in May. That's when we bring in a lot of the breweries from the whole west side of the state.
Cool.
And do a big tasting
Yeah.
event. It's called On Tap, and it's in the middle of the art that comes in for our regional.
Hear how that's happening? We're going from beer tents to
Sorry.
tastings. That's how we're classing things up around here.
That's right, that's right.
Now, some of the touring things. What's big right now?
Our special exhibitions right now is Common Ground.
Yep.
We did a collaboration with the Flint and Kalamazoo Institute of Arts and us. We combined the very best of our works by African American artists
Very cool.
into one big show. It's a phenomenal show. It goes till March 20th.
Okay.
So we still have some time, but it's going to go fast. And
Yeah.
I hope people don't miss this show. You know, one of the things with exhibitions that I don't think people understand in art museums, they're like a live performance.
Yeah.
And when it comes down, you're never going to see it that way again.
Yeah.
Ever. It's not going to happen again.
I was remarkably touched because when I came down here, you had the 9/11 exhibit on.
Oh.
And I mean, to actually see some of the things that were picked up at Ground Zero and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
it was a moving exhibit, and I walked through the thing going, wow, this is really in my town.
And we
Couldn't believe
organized
it.
We
Yeah.
organized that show. That show wouldn't have existed without. That was our idea.
Yeah.
To work with them and to create that kind of story. So I think when people think of something at the museum, oh, I'll get down there. But when you miss it, and I tell you, after every big exhibition, we get calls the next day. It's like, nope. It's
Sorry.
over. It's done. It's
Gone.
gone.
Yeah.
So Common Ground is up, and then we are sitting in the gallery with the original art from a children's book. Whoops.
Oh, now you did it.
Sorry. Children's book. It's called I Too Am America. That's not going to show up on your screen.
It's right there.
There it is. And it's the original art from this children's book. And Brian Collier is the artist. It's a Caldecott award-winning book. And he will be here on March 10th.
He's coming here himself.
He's coming, and we're really excited about it. Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
this book, and
Yeah.
it's got quite a history to it.
It does. The book is based on the poem by Langston Hughes called I Too, but he called it I Too Am America. And then, so he uses that poem as the text, but within this book, he actually tells the story of the Pullman porters in America, which was...
On the train cars.
On the train cars.
Yeah.
I think it's George Pullman invented the sleeping car.
Yep.
And when he did that, and then they started having sleeping cars, he dictated that only African Americans could be the porters. And so that happened, and then the porters actually became kind of the beginning, I think, of a middle class for African Americans,
Okay.
in that they traveled, they got a decent wage, they got tips, they got exposed to all parts of our country. So it's really quite a story that's within this little book.
And he's coming right here to talk about it.
Brian Collier will be here on March 10th. We will have a reception, and then he will do a talk in our auditorium. Very excited to bring him here.
Very exciting stuff, and it's high culture right here in Muskegon.
It is. And actually, we actually have another exhibition that opens on March 3rd, a week from Thursday. And that's a really unique exhibition. It's called Native Visions, and it features art from the Southwest school.
Beautiful.
From the 20s to the 40s. And there's quite a story behind that art. The children were actually separated from their families and sent to these schools in New Mexico, but there was a whole art component, and what came out of that is rather stunning.
And it's all going to be here.
And it's going to be here. We open that on March 3rd.
Awesome stuff
So,
going on.
yeah.
Talk a little bit about the summer. What are you full swing all summer long too? Or?
Oh, we are full swing.
Yeah.
We had the longest running juried show for Michigan artists.
Okay.
This is our 88th year.
Wow.
And we will open that exhibition May 12th. We're in the entry period.
Okay.
This year, for the first time, we're going to an electronic entry. We've always had a walk-in entry, which
Sure.
is, you know, you have 700 works of art coming in 3 days. It's rather daunting process. But we decided to try the electronic entry so that it would be really available to
Anyone.
everybody in
Yeah.
Michigan.
Okay.
It's just open to all Michigan artists. So that information's on our website. The entry period's right now. That exhibition opens May 12th, and that's usually our summer exhibition. And
Very
so,
cool.
Yeah.
And you got this thing called the Festival of Trees that kind of caught on.
Well, before we have that, we have On Tap. We have 3 different fundraisers. We have On Tap, which is our craft beer event on May 14th. And then our anniversary gala, 104th anniversary gala on June 11th. And then Festival of Trees in the late winter. Actually, we're kind of excited about Festival of Trees. We have kind of a concept for this next year that I think people really love, and it's all about Muskegon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you're down here for that. If somebody wants to get involved, what do they do?
Number one, just come and visit. My theory is if I can get somebody in this museum 3 times, I got them. They're going to recognize that this is an interesting, fun, friendly place to hang out.
Yep.
We are open every Thursday night, and we have free admission from 4 to 8. We have a cash bar. We have a happy hour every Thursday night, so we always invite people. And Thursday nights when we have our openings and our receptions, but no matter what, every Thursday night something's going on here, even if it's just our happy hour. We really invite Muskegon and the region to become members.
Yeah.
Part of our support comes from our membership, and it's not just the financial support, it's the engagement.
Sure.
Our members are engaged in all the things that we do. They talk about us. They support us financially. They support us through volunteering. We have volunteer opportunities. So there's lots of different ways to get engaged.
Great things to do down here.
There is. There really, really is.
Get down here.
You know, one of the things that, when people, especially when they start to come back and they start to visit Tornado over Kansas or the New York restaurant, here's what happens when you start to, number one, you start to become very fond and they're kind of your favorites. And then they start to talk back to you.
Yeah.
The art will talk back.
Yeah.
When you allow it. When you allow yourself that time to enjoy original art and to really think about it, it's a two-way street. It's a two-way dialogue.
Expose yourself.
Yeah.
Come down to the arts.
Yeah.
Muskegon Museum of Art, easy for me to say. I was up a little late last night. Judith Hayner, a fantastic executive director down here, and it's just one of the things that makes Muskegon so special. So stop down, give them a visit. Even on those Thursday nights, if you're a cheapskate, you don't want to pay, come on down and take a look at the Muskegon Museum of Art. Judith Hayner, everybody.
All right, thank you.